Hey guys, first regards in here, and I'll be talking about a Retribution Vanguard build for Space Marine 2 Patch 12. Now, this build will be using the perk, of course, Retribution. When your ranged weapons magazine is empty, melee damage increases by 30%. This is a pretty good perk for hitting breakpoints on a couple weapons in the game. Now, the 30% damage buff here is not as good as it sounds initially because it is taking the standard issue weapon tier into account, not your relic weapon. But that being said, there are some use case scenarios for this, and also damage is damage. They're just not as valuable as a perk as they sound initially. Now, for the melee weapon on this build, I will be using a block power axe. Block weapons can still reach a higher total damage amount than the balance weapons can with adrenaline surge stacks. If you don't know how that works, I do have a video on all defense types in the description below. But the big thing here is we are going for pure melee damage, starting off with the perk here, Perpetual Strength. Melee damage increases by 5%, and moving here into the perk Coup de Grace, the last strike of a light combo deals 25% more damage. Then I pick up the perk here, Perpetual Strength again for another 10% damage buff, and then we pick up the perk Counterattack down here into the perk Riposte. Overhead strike damage after performing a power backstep is doubled. This perk is actually incredible because all you have to do to perform a power backstep is once you do a perfect parry, you just wait a second and then hold down your melee button again, and then to perform this overhead strike after that, all you have to do is hold down your melee button after that initial animation. Again, that might sound a little confusing, but basically just do a heavy attack and then do another heavy attack after a perfect parry. Next perk here is Hard Target, and moving here into the perk Tactical Retreat, Power Backstep deals 25% more damage. You pretty much pick this up on any variant of the Power Axe. Getting more Power Backstep damage is incredible, especially on Vanguard, because Vanguard really does need the melee damage. And then we move up here into the perk Power Wave. Power Backstep Wave damages more enemies. All this does is change the angle of your Power Wave, just hit more guys, which is just super useful. So you pretty much always take this combo together. And the final perk here is Cleaver for a 10% damage buff against Majoris and higher enemies. And that's pretty much all there is for the Power Axe tree. And I will say, on this build, you can take a block chainsword and build it this way, and then when you actually get a perfect parry on 2 block charges, you will be able to one combo a Majoris with a full throttle skip combo. If you don't know what that is, I do have like a little link to that as well. But the big thing here is that if you have the perk Motivated Melee empty on your magazine for another 20% buff on top of Retribution, that will give you the breakpoint on both hard strats and the absolute operations to one combo any Majoris in the game, which is pretty good, but for the most part, I still think the Power Axe is better for this build. Now for my primary weapon, I will be taking the automatic variant of the standard bolt carbine. This is the ammo reserve option, mainly because this one has incredible contested health recovery for both Tyranids and Chaos, and on top of that, your ammo economy is quite strong on this gun, which is a major upside for Vanguard because that is something this class struggles with quite a bit. Now, for the perk tree here, I do take the perk Headhunter first, moving here into the perk Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores your health by 10%. This perk isn't super valuable on the Vanguard because Vanguard has its own healing sources pretty easily, but we do take this, move into the God tier perk here, which is Home Precision. The equipped weapon's maximum spread decreases by 50% when firing without aiming. This basically turns your hip fire into a laser beam. Your hip fire will actually be more accurate than aiming down sight, so you pretty much always pick this up because this way you can circumvent the 2 accuracy on the ammo reserve option. You get the best of both worlds with a fat magazine capacity, ammo reserve, and accuracy. Next perk here is Divine Might for a 10% damage buff. Then I pick up the perk Headhunter and Headhunter again for a 20% headshot damage buff. Then we go down here through Extended Magazine, Divine Might, Increased Capacity, Magazine Restoration, and the final perks are Adamantine Grip and Divine Might again. Now, alternatively, you could skip over these 4 and go up here for Recoupment for like Armor Restore and a Headshot Kill on the Majoris for higher, Perpetual Precision, and Adamant Hunter. These perks are pretty good. I just kind of prefer the extra damage flat down here and the ammo capacity, but you know, that is up to you. And that's pretty much all there is for the Bolt Carbine. Now for our secondary selection, I do take the Inferno Pistol Rate of Fire version. Now, you know, I've tried to set this up on a couple build setups already. First up, I tried the ammo reserve option, going down the top tree for 1 shot in the magazine. But when it comes to the perk over here, Motivated Melee, I just much prefer this on the Rate of Fire version because you can ammo dump this one pretty easily thanks to that very rapid fire rate. And the ammo capacity total really does not matter too much for you, so this is my preferred option for this build. Now, the first perk here is Divine Might for 10% damage buff. Then move here into like the crux of this whole thing, which is a Motivated Melee. Melee damage increases by 20% if this weapon has no ammo in its magazine. Now, the big issue with this perk in a lot of cases is some people struggle to make sure your weapon is unloaded, because what happens in Space Marine 2 is that when you empty your magazine, you will automatically start to reload your weapon, and to circumvent that, all you have to do is just do a single melee attack, and that will stop the reload animation. It will not start again until you swap off the gun and swap back. So just keep that in mind, and also this perk effect will only be active as long as this weapon is equipped, so keep that in mind as well. Next perk here is Great Might, down here into the perk Perpetual Range. Then I move here into the perk Increased Capacity, Adamant Restoration, and the final two perks here are Extra Shot. Magazine size increases by an additional cartridge, and Trick Shot for armor restore on killing 5 enemies with one shot and a 30-second cooldown, because these two are just the overall best. And to be honest, this entire perk tree setup is like the best for any variant of this weapon, regardless of whether or not you are taking the magazine capacity version or not, and you want the motivated melee perk. Now for the Vanguard perk tree, I do take the perk here Melee Mastery first. Melee damage increases by 10% against Majoris and higher enemies. This perk, unfortunately, is not a multiplicative damage bonus. It does not work like it should. It also has the same issue that Retribution and Motivated Melee have, where it takes into account your standard issue weapon. But that being said, Melee Mastery for this build, more damage is more damage, and even though we lose no knockback from upper hand, we're taking it this time. Next perk here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you will take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. You can actually combine this perk with the perk over here Thrill of the Fight to get a 45% HP damage reduction for 5 seconds. That is a really strong option to make you way tankier on the Vanguard, and Vanguard's actually surprisingly tanky in this game despite only having like 15% HP increase, which is just like Tactical. But these HP damage reductions on top of things like armor restoration, you do get quite tanky on this guy. Next perk here is Retribution. When your ranged weapons magazine is empty, melee damage increases by 30%. This is like the whole crux of this build, so definitely pick this up. And the next perk here is Inner Fire. Now you may be wondering, Mr. FTG, why are we not taking Melee Champion? Well, Melee Champion doesn't really help us with breakpoints on this build for hard strats and the absolute operations. And also, this perk just fucking sucks, guys. I'm gonna be honest, like for team perk selection, Melee Champion is ass. There are Vanguard buffs coming to at least like the grapple targeting, but like maybe they'll touch Melee Champion, but for now I would just take either this perk or Inner Fire, because Inner Fire says all team members can restore ability charged by 15% by performing finishers on Majoris and higher enemies. And even though this no longer works on like normal kills, you do have to do like a gun strike or a melee execute. Either way, this will give you a ton of grapnels for just your class, but also if you play like a bulwark or attack, this is even more valuable because they really benefit from this CDR bonus. Next perk here is Collateral Damage. Diving Kick deals 50% more damage and additionally damages enemies on the way to the grapnel launcher's target. I'm going for like a full Diving Kick build. Back in like patch 11, they made it so the grapnel launcher or the grapnel kick will scale up with difficulty. If you take this perk on top of the perk over here, Tenacity, which gives you a 130% damage bonus to your Diving Kick after a range kill of Majoris or higher, they cooldown of 15 seconds. You can just one-shot Majoris on a Diving Kick or do a ton of damage to bosses. Pretty good option here. Maybe not like the overall strongest, but pretty fun. Next perk here is Thrill of the Fight for that HP damage reduction, and the final perk here is Adrenaline Rush, because I know a lot of people want some form of healing on their Vanguard build, so this is for that. And pretty much, even though they nerfed this down from like 10% way back in the day, it's still a strong perk. Getting HP back on Majoris kills, especially with how many Majoris are in the game now compared to like launch, is still a very strong option, which is why I picked this up, though you could alternatively take the Executioner build, Tactical Prowess, and Zone of Impact. That is up to you, but that's all there is for the main perk tree. Now, for our Prestige perk options, this one is pretty standard. I just take Battlefield Awareness for a 10% range damage buff within 8 meters, then I pick up Fortitude for health increase of 15%, and I pick up Launch Restoration and Restoration, because getting free armor back on a grapnel launcher used with an Inner Fire build is incredible because you get so many more grapnels, and armor is super life-saving in this game, and Restoration is just kind of like a bit of redundancy on that. But I will say, if you want to skip over this one, or Indomitable Spirit, because this will give you no knockback on gun strikes, and we do not have upper hand, which means we are missing out on some no knockback. You definitely can do that. That is up to you, and that is pretty much all there is for this build, guys. I'll say, you know, Motivated Melee plus Retribution Vanguard is pretty fun. The Block Power Axe is still an incredibly powerful weapon on this class. You could also take the Balanced one if you wanted to, because this one does have a higher base damage, but this one still hits higher peaks. And that's pretty much all I have to say in this one, guys. If you like content like this, subscribe for more. If you want to watch me live to ask me questions about the game or just come hang out, you can find me here on YouTube or on Twitch with a link in the video description alongside a link to my community Discord. And I also want to say thank you to all my channel members. You guys help me keep this channel alive and make guides like this. And as always, take it easy. Thanks for watching. Bye. That's gonna be a hell route. If I cannot waste the whoops, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, we're still in the end. Oh, look at all this. Wow, this is Inferno fodder. Church. I see him up there, dude. Door farming me. I want to grab him. He look cool as shit. But, alas, I guess I'll put him dead. Alright, that's up a strong bolter from a Terminator. There it is. I was just guessing when you got him there. Yeah, I mean, he felt it. You've never seen anyone use inner fire. Well, that's shocking. Inner fire is very strong. You can't perfect dodge that, we just didn't do it. Well, not perfect dodge it, but you can dodge the damage fully on that. That's the hardest dodge on the Missile Terminator. Okay. I'll get this started. See, if we empty our magazine entirely, we'll never run out. Or I should say, we'll never lose our buff. Gonna stop that. Not that the optimal gun to interrupt that, is it? I can maybe do that. I got caught in it. Keep in mind, we don't have any no knockback on this build right now, so we should be a little careful with shit like that. Like, our only real knockbacks coming from the hyper armor we have, or our power back step. You have to use Cloaks and Iron Halo. They said it should be possible, but right now, you know, you gotta think that there's only one War Gear slot, but I feel it's a pretty easy fix. But then again, I feel like a lot of things in this game are pretty easy to fix. They don't get fixed, so we'll see. Be a long mission. How do you deal with annoying minigun spam in true solo? So when it comes to fighting chaos in this game, the #1 way to get rid of minigun spam is just have any option of stagger. So that could be, so attacks that are guaranteed stagger in this game are lunging attacks, heavy attacks like this, and then you have weapons like Inferno pistols, plasma pistol, even like enough shots with a Ultra will also do it, but that's way less consistent. Because missile terminators, they cannot go in range. Okay. Definitely, they're experiments, so they will forever be staggerable. And because of that, if you bring any weapon that can stagger them, we're gonna be okay. Their missiles aren't too bad. The only bad missile combos of one like 2 feet in front of them. That shit sucks. Vulture stagger, they do have enough shots. Actually, don't quote me that for the missile terminator. On that for the missile terminator, I haven't tested that in a while. But I know for a fact that the overhead launching attacks too.
No turning back now. Walkway cleared.
Sniper rifle to stagger also, yeah, both snipers. Well, I would hope a both sniper staggers, considering it's like the fattest bolt around this entire game.
We will report it to the Ordos heroes. Continue with the mission. There are more pressing heresies that need our attention.
So the third attack of your light combo of this weapon will do more damage. Yes, this is actually Ass Blast for Avenue, by the way. This is the hardest boss bomb in the whole map here. There's a couple reasons for that. Oh, that was not the one. So you can stagger them with the Sanctified Wrath Reliquary. It just ain't easy. Okay. Why it's Ass Blast for Avenue, because this guy loves to body block all the missile terminators. Amazing. Got such a fat ass. Yeah, I not. Well, I tried to use the Sanctified Wrath Reliquary there earlier. That was a mistake. Waiter, more range spam, please. Yeah. I think everything else would be pretty easy by comparison. Close to me. Majoris. Hi, all. What's up, Launchbox? Alright, that was probably the hardest part of this mission. Now, we did have to waste both our stims there and almost exploded, all because I Sanctified Wrath Reliquary like 2 feet in front of the minigun terminator, did an AoE dagger, and almost got my mouth blasted by warp powers and such. That being said, any tips using the block type weapons? I would say the biggest problem with block type weapon is you just have to know the moveset of the enemy. Like, that's the biggest skill cap. Skill difference. The knowledge check. Because there's no interrupt on these outside of getting your block charges from like the follow-up attack. Which means that you have to know what this guy. So for example, these little Chaos Spawn guys. If I don't know what his second attack's gonna be, this is kind of true for like carrying weapons again, but if I don't know what their second attack is going to be on some of these strings, especially things like a Lictor, you won't know when to get your block charges, and you won't know when the opening is to actually hit them. Meanwhile, a fencing weapon will just open up a carry opportunity for you. Or a gun strike. What the fuck? Can't see a thing. Oh, that's just really cool. There's some fucking guys here. Huh? Space Wolves need better grip. Dude, Space Wolves have some of the best grip in 40k in my opinion. And it's just like, it looks so Primaris-y in this game. You know, I could rant about this. This is a minor complaint. I know it's not easy. It's like have a bunch of like individual capes just for the Space Wolves. There's so many Chaos Spawn. How about a clusterfuck of enemies? Dude, this is every Minecraft dungeon I go into, I swear to God. I thought it was gonna be that's my guy. You guys see that? I use my collateral damage to execute the guy. That's not sick. That's like the one use case scenario I think that's ever done anything like that for me. Alright, and now we lose all of our HP to the one Rager Marine. Hold on. Can he be stopped? Is he too powerful? Alright, you're gonna get some strife here, Mr. First Regardsman. Do game seems intense. I mean, hard strats with Tsunami can be like this in coordinated calls. You get a lot of enemies. It probably is. I think this is the best custom strat to like replicate the higher spawns and find difficulty mods while keeping you within like vanilla mechanics for the most part. Because like my issue with some of the difficulty mods in the games are really fun, but they also take like an hour to complete. And that's a completion run. If you die in between, you might be there for 6 hours. This ain't about the head taker helmets, but yeah, on the note of the capes for the Space Wolves, I feel like Primara's Space Wolves have been done a little dirty. They just look too marine-y, you know what I mean? I know that like obviously they're Space Marines, but the whole thing about Space Wolves is like all the wolf pelts they have, all like the hanging fangs and stuff. That's what makes them look unique. And like also their Blade Guard shields are just like look like Viking shields and stuff like that sometimes. Perish. Ow. Ow. Perish. He's stronger. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's fucking dead. What the fuck was I talking about? His damage is definitely stronger. Streamer, are you excited about the new Block Axe having a Blood Angel skin? Yeah, I just want it to be good. I mean, that Blood Angel skin is going on anything I want. So, I certainly am. Yeah, Primaris do look clean. Yeah, Primaris look a little clean for Space Wolf. They're doing this to you. Well, I guess in this case the Dreadnought kills you, but... When do they plan on releasing Deathwatch Cosmetics? Yeah, year 3. Though I'm pretty sure the Tech Room's getting Deathwatch Cosmetics next patch. Him alone.
The cogitations are clear.
I wish it was Deathwatch instead of Salamanders. You and me both, man. Like, who wants... Does anybody really want Salamanders again? Third time's a charm.
They are there to prepare that battle barge for flight. It couldn't possibly break free of Demarium's gravity in its present condition. We only require that it reach the enemy vessel.
The engine should provide sufficient lift, but the vessel's fusion batteries are fully depleted. There's no charge to start the ship's reactor.
Can we source additional fusion battery units?
There is a fusion battery unit we can use to wake up the reactor. Require charging from our power plant. Those areas of the facility are compromised.
An opportunity to test our robotic moving.
Due to the volatile nature of the fusion battery, safety protocols prevent it from moving without an attendant. Lead it along the tracks to the junction station.
Right. So the thing about tsunami coordinated calls though is even though the bosses are dead, we can still face a pretty tremendously staggering amount of enemies here.
There is something wrong with the tracks.
There are several consoles for managing the tracks nearby. You must perform the appropriate rites of alignment to achieve the desired geometry.
Assuming they possess the ability to extrapolate accordingly.
Surely the Ultramarines believe that it comes from presenting exceptional awareness.
Considering this plan of theirs, I have my doubts.
Okay.
Tracks are set.
Now, Fall of Atreus is a map that it will never let you just chill. There will always be like a gargantuan wave at the end somewhere. Like termination in that way. You know, if they did a better job with the Chaos map objectives, I think the maps themselves would be a lot more. But like, usually when I play Chaos, it's not that I hate the Chaos maps themselves, it's like I think Box Liberatus. What do I get to do at the end of Box Liberatus? Oh, I get to sit there and get shot at by a demon post for like for the next 8 minutes. That's fun. Or don't get me started on Reliquary, where like your teammates are just out there licking windows and they're like, they can't fucking figure out the idiocracy, like shape matching.
Stay with the fusion battery.
Fall of Atreus, holy cortisol spike. I actually like Fall of Atreus, okay? You guys, not all of you were here for the before times, alright? There was an age, a dark age of Space Marine 2, when I bought the Turbo Sucker edition of this game for $100, and I played it early. I got to play Fall of Atreus early. 3 days, in fact, just like some of you other guys. And back in those before times, Fall of Atreus had, and it was shortly after patch, the launch patch as well, but Fall of Atreus had you do this battery charge up like 2 or 3 times. And they changed it to 1. And it still takes forever. I can't tell if Space Marine 2 is harder now or harder back then. I mean, in some ways it was harder. I think for Assault it was like objectively harder on Chaos now is way easier. Chaos back in the day for Assault, that was beyond obnoxious. You did no damage.
Does not take a Logis to see this act of desperation.
But granted, we as players all sucked more back then because the game was out for the time. Me especially. Actually, I suck more now. Hold on. I'll take that back. It's really been a downward spiral, for being honest. Chaos was harder then. They had more Zangors, Rubiks didn't melee at all. Yeah, Rubiks wouldn't melee use much. They actually had to tone down their teleportation, and they also made it so oh, whatever. Okay, yeah, that's definitely what I wanted in game. Of the 2 options that you could have chosen for me, you were like, let's kill A cultist. You want to kill the Rubik Marine? Why would you want to do that? You can kill this fucking guy, dude. Guy is dressed in rags, okay? The impact of my grapnel should have killed him. You see how fucking big this thing is? Bigger than his head. Whatever. Forty, they joined the Imperial Guard.
Stay with the fusion battery.
In there. The most Vanguard moment of all 40k was quite Vanguard moment. Legendarily Vanguard. I open the stream and immediately see Space Marine. That's what you guys come for, right? How do you power back stuff? I'll have a power X guide eventually. What you have to do, first is heal the R. Just hold down your melee button after you enter that stance after a perfect barrier, perfect block. Okay, I saw your stream of this game, had to sign up for membership. This doesn't look like the same stream I was on though. This was my first YouTube live stream though, and I've never... Well, that's because I have a mobile stream too, which is like a goofy feature they have on YouTube. I honestly don't know if it's worth it sometimes. Like, it's just confusing. And also the comments there tend to be schizo. I find the percentage of cope you find like goes up dramatically in a shorts comment section, like the TikTok comment section.
Stay with the fusion battery. Hook available.
Ow. Now I was drunk as fuck last night. Just heads up, guys. So this is FTG. This is a hungover movie. That's the proper Space Wolf experience. If you ask me.
Never turned out fresh ammunition. Stay with the fusion battery.
You have the VOD, you're gonna edit it, but is that illegal? I mean, I don't really say much in that live stream. At least nothing crazier than what I said in my last drunk stream. In the last drunk stream, I just talked about Henry Cavill being Superman for 15 minutes. How Man of Steel is better than the Superman movie. FTG, did you ever play VR chat? No. I swear I've seen you in there. No. If I was in VR chat, this would be me, okay? Like, this is just not, we're not. No, dude. Not VR chat. Okay. Then what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Sorry, when people say, I swear I've seen you in VR, usually I just think they're talking about VR chat. I think that's a fair assumption, chat, don't you guys? Man of Steel is better, I'm telling you, dude. First of all, I'll say David Cornsweat's a tragic name. But also, David Cornsweat is like, I know he's like a huge guy. He just doesn't strike me as Superman. He feels like Temu Superman.
Who'll stay with the fusion battery? What needs grappling?
Oh, he's on there for sure, dude. I've never played VR chat in my life. This Mario Party, you betcha.
Who'll stay with the fusion battery?
My wife called and I missed it. Who is Temu Superman? I'm glad you asked. David Cornsweat is in my opinion, Temu Superman, alright? You want some other hot takes from FTG? Not even hot takes. I think that Tactical should have Power Sword because Power Sword's not that strong in this game, and also two of the classes aren't very fun to use the Power Sword with. Like, I don't think Assault Power Sword is actually that entertaining. It kind of just plays like every other build in the Assault. It's okay. But like, it's peak on Bulwark. I feel like it'd be way more fun on Tac. Because Tac's a Marine that like, because of the way the Tactical's set up, in my opinion, he plays around like a normal Marine a lot more with melee weapons you'd expect from the campaign. That's what a lot of the weapons became designed around initially. I can't find out which one to be. Oh wow, a grenade. Get shit on. Ah yes, the humble enemy, mankind. Our battle will be legendary. I'm dead. No, I'm not. All rude. Oh, what was it?
Reactor is primed for ignition. The vessel is ready. May this machine service be forever remembered.
What the fuck?
Engines primed, Lieutenant. You must work. Lock target now.
Signal data through telemetry systems. Numerous errors detected due to signal interference. Setting trajectory.
Oh, that's really bad. I mean, we could just leave, but we're just fucking dead. If we die, we can just say we would clean the mission anyways, you know? We're gonna cope. That was almost bad. He died. Whatever. Alright, that's all I want to do. Bye. Push the lever, Kronk.
May I have an end so steeped in fiery vengeance.
That was hot.
An instrument of the machine god's wrath.
Not even close, times 15. How close is it really when you have like 45% HP damage reduction? This class is actually pretty tanky when you stack all the HP perks.